Hello. Here at the front of the house is what could very grandly be called the herb garden. It wasn't really designed that way, it's just developed into it, which is kind of how everything I do happens. It just happens over time. So there was no huge grand plan to turn this into a herb garden. I had vaguely thought I would plant some herbs in this area at some point. There were two things I knew I wanted. One was to have herbs here, and two was to have a rose hedge along the front of it, which I haven't even started yet. At the moment there are 3 beds here. There will be a 4th one. This first bed was here when we moved in, and it had lavender in it, which was lovely, but wasn't quite for us. I knew I wanted to have more culinary herbs, so I've planted a rosemary here, and the rest of it is filled with mint. Now I only put this mint in this year, and as with everything else it's struggling with the dryness, but my hope is that this whole bed will get filled up with mint, so when we sit on the bench we'll brush against the mint and it will release its beautiful scent. And this area will have eventually a large raised bed in it with more herbs. But for now it's got the old garden cart and a pot of catmint. A couple of months ago I made this raised bed using very long pallets which I cut down into pieces. And I made videos showing what I'd done, so I'll leave a link up here. My intention was for it to be a raised herb bed. Quite close to the kitchen, so that seemed like a good idea. And indeed, I've planted masses of herbs in here, and as I'm talking to you I'm taking the heads off some chives, which have already flowered, and I can see the little seeds. I'm just sprinkling those around. I filled the bed with a hugelkultur style filling, so there's a lot of very large logs in the bottom of it, and then smaller branches on top of that, and twigs on top of that. Lots of wood chip, and then it's covered on the top with leaf mould and some chicken bedding. And it's worked really well, except it's incredibly dry this summer. There is very little water, and the only thing I'm using to water this is my used bath water, and because it's summer and I'm trying to save water, I'm not having very many baths. I'm showering and we can't collect the shower water as easily, so it's suffering. Everything in here is very dry and it's struggling, and all of these are new plants, which is not good for it's not great for new plants to be kept very dry. This Feverfew has done really well. These were 3 plants that I bought from the garden centre for about £1 each, and they've done so well, and they look fabulous. They look absolutely wonderful, and every now and then I just get that little aroma of the Feverfew leaves. Now I'm not a huge fan of using Feverfew for anything much other than I just love how it looks. I absolutely love how it looks. And these are so cheery, aren't they? So lovely. And in the centre here I've got a small monarda, and I can't remember whether it's a pinky one, a purpley one, or a red one. Some people call it bee balm. Oh, it's lovely. It's bergamot, and that's what they use in Earl Grey tea to give it that really lovely light fragrance. That was further down in the garden, so that isn't a new plant, but obviously I've transplanted it, so it's new to the bed. This lovely lovely bronze fennel. Was self-sown actually. I'm going to say it was grown from seed, but I grew some from seed a couple of years ago, and this had self-sown in the garden, and so I transplanted that. Oh, that's so nice. I also bought online a selection of plug plants of marjoram and thyme. So I've got a bright green marjoram, I've got some variegated marjoram, and the thymes I have, there's one here that is orange scented, I've got some lemon scented ones, I've just got some ordinary thyme that is variegated. So I've got a selection of thymes and marjorams, which are the herbs I probably use the most in cooking. This together with rosemary. Chives I use an awful lot in the summer because I use them in salads. And in the autumn, in early autumn, I cut loads and loads of chives, like by the handful. And then I chop them up into very fine pieces and freeze them so that during the winter I can just add them to dishes like omelettes very easily. Just take a little bit out of the freezer, add it to the omelette, job done. Back here I've got some chamomile. This has really struggled with the heat and the dry, and I don't know if this will make it through the year, to be honest. How much I water it, it kind of half picks up and then just goes. We'll see. It would be nice if it did make it through the summer, but if it doesn't, I will replace it next year. And the last section is this bed over here, which is a raised bed again, but was here when we moved in, and the previous owners had put in honeysuckle, passion flower. There's the most beautiful purple allium in here with a big globe head of purple flowers. This lovely lavender is actually in a half barrel just by the gate. And there's some more catmint, and when you get to the far end it's brambles because I haven't cleared those away yet. But I love this chaotic jumble of scented plants. It's just lovely. The previous owners had some real foresight to plant so many plants with aromatic leaves and really fragrant flowers. And while it's been so warm, I've had the doors of the living room open, and the scent of the honeysuckle has filled the living room. It's been really, really lovely. Well, that's it for me today. I hope you've enjoyed having a look around the herb garden. And so, wherever you are in the world and whatever you've got planned for today, I hope it's a good one. And I also hope you'll join me again tomorrow.